Morning all, hope you're well. Well, as it's a miserable old day today and I'm getting short of traces in the rig wallet, I thought I'd tie up a few rigs. These are going to be clip down paternosters, ideal for cod, bass, rays, just a simple general good all round rig really. Well, the tools and rig components are quite simple. Obviously a pair of scissors to cut the mono, a little pair of crimp and pliers obviously to crimp the swivels in place, a spool of 60-pound mono, some 4mm rig beads. I like to use small beads because they cut down air resistance. I don't know why people use huge beads when you don't need to. Swivels for the snuds, they're size 4s. Swivels for the top and bottom of the rig body, well these are size 1s, and I've got some 8mm by 1mm clip crimps, or you can use 5mm crimps, but they're fine, they both work. But obviously they're 1mm internal because 60-pound line is roughly 0.8mm diameter, so you want a little bit of clearance or you won't get the crimps through. And then I've just got some bait clips. These are seen as old-fashioned style bait clips now, but they work well, they're cheap. I never had an issue with them. Obviously all you do is you cut a little bit of rubber tubing to slide on, and they work ever so well, simple and basic. There's loads of different types of rigs and clips now, but I still go back to these basic clips. They do the job and they work well. The clips I use are crosslinks. I think they're a brilliant little clip, very strong, and I've never had an issue with them. Everyone's got their own clip they prefer, but I always use crosslinks. They're a brilliant little clip. You'll never part one, and they never bend or deform or anything. They just do the job a treat. Well, a lot of people conventionally, they tie a swivel on the top of the rig, then it goes down to a crimp, a bead, a swivel for the snud, another bead and a crimp. Then they go down to a bait clip, and then they go to a lead clip on the bottom. Well, I don't do it like that, I do it slightly different. I do it with a crosslink on the top, a swivel, go down to the crimp, a bead, a swivel, a bead, another crimp, the bait clip, a swivel and a crosslink. I have a swivel each end. I think they work better, and especially if you get a little bit of weed on the lead and everything spin, the swivel each end stop the rig from tangling so much. For the sake of one extra swivel for a few pence, that's how I always make them. I don't tie the snuds and hooks on until I'm actually fishing, because that depends on what I'm fishing for. If I'm fishing for rooker with big baits, sometimes I'll use a 2/4 on a pennel, or other times I'll use 2/3, or if I'm using things like sandeel or small baits, I'll use 2/1. So it all depends on the fishing. You can have various different things. You have your snud come down. You can have a single hook if you want, or you can tie a pennel. That doesn't matter. It's the same rig. It's just adaptable and easy to change. All depends on the species you're fishing for, the size of them, and the size of your hook baits. Whether single, double hook, pennel, that doesn't matter. Just use the same rig body. I make these traces 4 foot long. There to there is 4 foot. That then enable me to have a gap there around 6 inches, a gap there around 6 inches, and I can still have a 3 foot snud. What is plenty long enough in nearly every situation. Them hooks will always be on the bottom. with a 3-foot snood. There ain't many places where you're fishing straight down into really deep water with no angle, so 3 foot is plenty enough. So if you think of it, so that's the beach, that's where it go in the sea. If you've got your rod up at any sort of angle, a 3-foot snood is coming off your trace and it's always on the bottom. So 3 foot is plenty long enough. It'll flow on the tide well and it's not unmanageable. Well, this is all the components you need for one trace. Got your crosslink snap, size 1 swivel, crimp, bead, little swivel for the snood, size 4, another bead, a crimp, a little bit of rubber tubing, the bait clip, the other swivel, another crosslink. That's all you need. Simple. They're really a few pence. They don't cost a lot of money, and I prefer tying rigs myself because I know all the knots are good. Maybe it's an old-fashioned way of thinking, but I've always tied all my traces myself because you know what components are used, you know what the knots are like, you know what's good. So I've always tied all my own traces ever since I was a little kid. Well, the first thing I do is just put the swivels on the crosslink snaps. Obviously you see them, self-explainable. Squeeze it, obviously open, put the swivel on, and clip it back on. Then obviously exactly the same with the other one. Squeeze it, pop the clip undone, pop the swivel on, and do the clip up. Easy peasy. Now you have to just tie the swivel on. I always use grinner knots. They're easy to tie and they're very strong. I've never had one let me down. So all you do is thread the mono through the swivel, double the line up, make a loop. See there, made a loop. Then you just push the tag end through the loop 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple, ever so easy to tie. I then like to moisten it down. Give it a little lick. No one wants to see me do that. Then I just pull the knot, start to ease it down a little bit, but not too tight. See, that's still half, so it's not fully pulled tight. Then just slide it down. If you pull the knot fully tight, then slide it down, you get damage to the line that go all wrinkly. As you get closer, pull the tag end, ease it down and pull it tight. Simple. Easy peasy. Once the knot is pulled tight, just get your scissors and cut off the tag end. Obviously that thick mono is quite stiff and that can be quite pointy and stab you in the hand, so just trim the edge right back. After tying the swivel on, I then measure the mono to 4.5 foot. Okay, I only want the rig body to be 4 foot long, but I cut an extra 6 inches for a bit of wiggle room when tying the other knot. That makes sense, because obviously you lose a bit of mono when you tie the knot. I don't know if you can see, but I cut the end of the mono at an angle. That allows you to slide the crimps on a lot easier. So see, crimp just slide on. Then you got a bead, then the swivel, get the other bead, then the other crimp, So basically, that's where your snood is going to hang from. Obviously, it'll be a bit closer than that. All them beads are for to allow the swivel to spin. Then after that, slide your tubing on, get your bait clip, thread it through, and you can push the rubber over the end of the bait clip. It's quite tight, that rubber, but look, that'll hold in position ever so tightly. So that's superb. And the next thing you do is put on the last swivel and clip. Slide it on. Make your loop. So just doubled up. Spin it round to make another loop. Then go through there 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. I'm just going to moisten it up a little. Once it's moist, you can half pull the knot down, put your finger in and slide it right down to the bottom. Pull the knot a little bit more. I find it's easier to put that end in your teeth and give it a bit of a pull. So that's what I'm going to do. So look, let's pull down a bit more. Then grab hold of the knot and slide it down to the swivel. That's virtually home. I just then bite that end a little bit more and pull it up fully home. No one wants to see me biting on mono. So that's the finished end. All you need to do now is get a pair of scissors. Get a pair of scissors and snip the tag end off. Then all I do is I put the crimp in the crimping pliers, see that can still slide. Get it roughly 6 inches from the end. See, obviously the stiff mono want to curl like it was on the spool. Get it roughly 6 inches from the end and give them a good squeeze. Once the top crimp is tightened in position, you can then slide the rest down. Get the crimping pliers. Put it on the crimp. You can slide it up tight. So you slide it up tight, then pull it away a few mil. I only open up about a couple of mil, that's all you need. And then I squeeze the crimping pliers back down again. Once the crimps are all tight, you can then just coil it up and put it in your rig wallet, ready for fishing. If you want to and you know what species you're fishing for, you can then tie the snood on and put a single hook or a pennel hook on. That's up to you. All depends on the species and the ground you're fishing. Obviously, you don't have big hooks when you're only fishing for small species, and depend on the bait size, all to do with bait presentation. But that's easy enough to make, innit? There's nothing difficult about it. So happy fishing. Well, thanks for watching. I'll now tie up another few more of these and get the rig wallet filled up.